Jonathan Smith, has he made any risky moves this offseason we have to look for during this offseason? And then, my God, it's probably fair to be very, very upset if Michigan State does not beat the worst Michigan team we've seen in decades tomorrow. We talk about it with Kevin Grech of Can't Read, Can't Write. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. And how about this to start the weekend here in East Lansing? No, it's not just your boy over here rambling on and on and on by himself. No. We have 1/3 of one of the greatest podcasts out there. Can't Read, Can't Write. It's Kevin Grech. We dragged him back onto the show. Kevin, how we doing, man? We doing okay over there?
I'm doing well. I got no complaints. I got to say, the Locked On jingle, very catchy. Look forward to it every time. But there's something different about it when you're in the room and you can hear it played live. It's magical. It's like one of those, like when you hear about going on the Tonight Show for the first time or something like that. It's like, or we go on SNL. It's just, this is a big moment for me, and I just appreciate it, Matt.
I appreciate those kind words. We are often compared to SNL, except for the millions and millions of viewers. It's just like some of my family members watch this show. That's pretty much it. So,
and I listen to the jingle, and then I close the window. That's how I do it.
I appreciate that. Hey, still counts as a listen here over here in the metrics. So, Kevin, as a creator of MSU content, or just college football content in general, I saw something earlier this week of another school across the nation, and they were talking about risky moves that their coaches made. And that got me thinking, Jonathan Smith, not really any risky moves so far. It's been a pretty vanilla offseason, all things considered. Probably as vanilla as you could possibly get with, a good transfer portal cycle, a new head coach, taking the reins, this, and that. But I'm trying to think, what is the riskiest move that Jonathan Smith has made so far, or something that we have to watch for this offseason? And this is what I've landed on, and I just need to pressure test this with you to see if this is even risky, but the one I've landed on, is it just not retaining Harlan Barnett? And I know that this move happened a while ago, right? That's not, breaking any news here. But yes, last week he did just latch on to Northwestern. And then you start to think, this was a guy that was here for a very long time. Spartan dog through and through, really just knew the inner workings of the culture at Michigan State, yada, yada, yada. Jonathan Smith, for lack of a better term, dismissed him, right? He was one of 3 candidates for the secondary job, did not get the job. Is that even a risky move in your opinion? And is that the riskiest move that Jonathan Smith has made so far this offseason? Because if it doesn't work with Coach Meat, Blue Adams, you might get some fans saying should have been loyal to your guy, Harlan Barnett, the guy that knew the place. But is that even high on the risk meter, Kevin? Let me know.
Well, I think you're probably right about this, because as big of risks as there might have been, not retaining him because of his connections to the program, and then you bring in a Coach Meat, you retain Hawkins. There was all that talk about, is it a problem that he doesn't have the Midwestern ties? He's brought in a lot of stuff, but by not retaining Harlan Barnett, there's going to come a moment this season where out of nowhere in the fourth quarter, when you least expect it, there's an onside kick that Harlan Barnett would have been ready for. And in that moment, you'll think, there it is. When we needed him most, he was in Evanston. And he'll be there cackling. The cackle will be so loud, it will echo over Lake Michigan and into each of our ears, because the man is always ready to either call an onside kick or defend against one in inopportune times when you least expect it. And it never worked before, but it will work at some point. And that's when we'll have needed him, and it'll be a big mistake. I think you're right.
You got me. You got me. Because, look, I'm not going to backtrack anything I've said. Like, I, from the start, thought that it was time to move on from Harlan Barnett.
Right.
You know, like, we've seen enough of him. Yes, you could retain him, but, like, really, what are we retaining? It's not like he's the only guy that has the keys to the football center or that could learn about culture here at Michigan State. Like, for crying out loud, you got Courtney Hawkins and a great supporting cast around Jonathan Smith. But that's just me. This is just some idiot with a microphone that gets a little too passionate about his college sports. The people that matter inside the football building, like the players, for example, Kevin, like all that you hear about with Harlan is how beloved he is, how respected he is, this, and that. So I don't like it comes down to the players. I'm sure that transitioning from him to Coach Meat, probably not too big of a drop off. I hear Coach Meat is very player friendly. But yeah, I wonder if that's like the biggest risk of the offseason. I have one more that might be a fringe one, but I want to hear from you. Do you have anything that could be risky for Jonathan Smith here in this offseason?
I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Mine's not like off-season related. Mine's actually game time related because I thought about this. I saw the same thing. It would be very normie to be like, did he make the wrong decision about defensive coordinator?
Yeah, totally.
I hope that's what you're going for, by the way. That'd be great if I totally undermined you on that.
You didn't know.
I do, as a man, I am concerned. I do have one concern about Jonathan Smith. Now, I know you run a family show.
We
do. Do the listeners here know about the signal that Jonathan Smith uses to milk the clock to signal out to the play?
It'll be educational for all of us.
So if you haven't seen this, there's a GIF on the internet of Jonathan Smith milking the udders to say milk the clock to the team. And that might work on the other side of the country, but I'm concerned, Matt Sheehan, that if you bring that here, you bring that to this agricultural institution, you bring that to MooU, it might just be too much for us to handle. Like not just you and I coming down from the upper deck. I'm concerned about like cows coming in from pasture, like answering the call. Anything could happen. So that's the other concern that I have about risky moves that might happen for Jonathan Smith. But what's yours? What's your last one?
I'm just so thrown up because, like, you thought getting back on 127 after a game was hard enough. Imagine just cows are clogging up Shaw Lane and all the roads like that.
Every cow in the entire state, they're swimming over from Wisconsin. The siren call goes out like that. You don't know what's going to happen. The man's too powerful.
Might have to just charter helicopters to and from games so far. But no, the only other one that I could even see as fringe risk is it's been very clear, and this comes from the player himself, that Malik Carr, a guy that had some good games last year, was essentially not invited back to the team. Like, then that's not just me saying it, but Malik Carr literally just tweeted that out when he transferred to Houston. So, like, I don't know. I wonder if that's risky, but then again, like, you do have some young, good tight ends. You brought in Jack Vallings. So, like, you talk about on a scale of 1 to 10, what would be a 1 on the risk scale? Like, maybe that's just your other one, but I don't know. It's been a pretty vanilla offseason from Jonathan Smith, which, again, I say this all the time. After what we went through the last 2 months of the season, I will take vanilla, Kevin. I will take vanilla.
Delightfully vanilla. This is like a fine, like a nice, like gold leaf vanilla that I just lap up.
Yes.
Happy for it. Let's go.
Before we flip the page here, talk basketball, we do have to talk the college football news, and this is virtual because EA Sports, they have announced NCAA college football 2025 will actually be dropping this summer. Kevin, I'm not going to see 3 suns this summer. I'm not going to see the big yellow one in the sky, and I'm not going to see the 2 that my wife gave birth to within the last 3 years because, man, oh man, I'm not even a video game guy, but woohoo, NCAA college football, we will be in the trenches in front of a television with an Xbox controller in our hand for the duration of the summer. How hard of a needle mover is this for you? Are you just with everyone else, and this is the greatest thing you've ever heard?
First time, big time. Needle mover for me. Like, I might invest in a console just to play this game. I'm not sure yet. But did you, back in the day, and I don't even know how long it's been since the last NCAA football, would you play Dynasty mode as MSU, or did you pick another team?
We were big into the mascot games. Like you talk about just like the lamest way to play NCAA college football.
Really?
Like, Syracuse Orangemen versus the Fighting Irish mascot. Like that's what we burned up a lot of time with over here. So I know I took a hard left right there, but yeah, that was the primary way to play it here. Yeah.
That I accept that. Normally when people say like, I don't play as MSU, I play as like South Dakota State at Hoople
Sure.
or whatever. I'm like,
Right.
I can't trust you anymore. Like,
Okay.
I can't trust your judgment. Like, what's wrong with you? But I love the idea of this mascot game. I don't think I ever used that mode personally. But yeah, big needle mover for me. Are you concerned though? I think you brought this up because they just tweeted a promo picture in the upper right-hand corner. Looked like a wing helmet. Are you concerned at all about the cover athlete for this year's NCAA football? And if it is someone in a winged helmet, is that disqualifying for you?
I'm just so immature and so petty that like, yeah, probably. yeah, I might be leaving that game on the shelf unless they have like a limited edition with, I don't know, Nick Saban on the cover. Like I'll just go pay the extra $10 or $20 for whatever that is just to have that. Wow,
I would also be willing to.
I just have a walnut-sized brain, and I just can't get over something as trivial as my rival team on the cover of a video game. So yeah, no, you're right. That might be a damper for me over here, Kevin.
What if?
I gotta be honest.
What if it was? I mean, if it was like a Blake Corum, and you're just funneling another $10 through that, Wyoming LLC or whatever it is, like that. Yeah, that is disqualifying. But what if it's like the many faces of Connor Stallions on the NCAA football cover? Would you buy it then? You got your central Connor Stallions.
I was going to say CMU hat, Connor Stallions.
You've got your U of M Connor Stallions talking directly into Harbaugh's ear. You've got your at the Horseshoe with Roses Connor Stallions. Like the multi faces. Would you purchase that version of NCAA football?
It makes it a little easier to convince me to buy that one, especially with CMU hat Connor Stallions. Yeah.
I heard it also comes with a lightly used vacuum cleaner. So that's a little bonus that they throw in for you.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that whatsoever. It's also impossible to hate the things that are going on at FanDuel Sportsbook. You like that transition into an ad read there, Kevin? That's what I'm talking about. I'm so sorry, Kevin. We got to say goodbye to you for a quick minute because I need to talk to people's ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook. Gang, hey, when the ball tips off against the Wolverines, Michigan State probably going to be somewhere 5-point, 6-point favorites, all right? I'm going to be doing my wagering over at FanDuel. They also have great player props. Like the other day, if you cashed in on Malik Hall over 20 points, well, that was a bet that you were not sweating against Penn State. There are plenty of great bets to get in on over at FanDuel, not just with NCAA basketball, but of course with NBA. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That is $150 if your bet wins. You get bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and so much more. So what are you waiting for out there? Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. It's FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Now let's drag 1/3 of Can't Read, Can't Write back onto the show. His name is Kevin Grech. And Kevin, look, we both do podcasts. We both like to react. Okay,
we do. It drives engagement. It's the most important thing. Like and subscribe.
Some say. And don't just subscribe to the Can't Read, Can't Write podcast, but also the YouTube channel too, because you three dapper gentlemen are showing your faces now. But speaking of reactions, Kevin, is it already safe to say that if Michigan State does not win at Chrysler, like we are as podcast hosts and also as fans, speaking to the listeners too, are we in our right to just like flip our you-know-what if they can't win this game? I know it's a road game. I know that this is probably going to be as close to a tournament game as it will be for Michigan, but like save for Michigan doing something crazy like shooting 14 of 19 from 3, like doing something that like Michigan State just couldn't stop. Save for that, like if they lose, it erases what they've done the last 2 games and we could just absolutely spiral, right? Is that a fair pre-reaction, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just a co-host here today. I'm also a fan, and I was listening to your episode last night, and you were saying Final Four or bust. So that's right. I do think that we've got a pendulum swing that all the way back to the other side, because Michigan, even their wins now look bad. We saw Wisconsin twice this year.
Yeah.
They beat that team, but that was in the middle of Wisconsin just bumbling all over itself, vomiting and rolling in it over like a 4-game losing streak. So their other win at home against a better team than them, Ohio State, has already fired their coach this year.
Correct.
So there is no redemption in a loss on the road at Chrysler Arena this year. And I mean, you don't even even because Doug McDaniels, and is he going to be there with his academic coach on the
Probably.
sidelines during? I ran some quick back of the envelope math. He's shooting 24% from 3 in conference games, all like 3 of them that he's played in or whatever. Out of conference, he was 42%. So it's not even like having him in the game right now changes their, offensive or defensive efficiency that significantly. I mean, they're a team that do literally nothing well. I think maybe blocks or something that you could point at.
Sure.
But the offense is bad. The defense is bad. They turn the ball over a fair amount. And it is just, you should melt down if MSU loses this game.
Doug McDaniel, yes, he will be playing this game. He missed the game at Breslin Center because, just like you said, he was chained to a desk with his academic advisors hovering over him during that game. So he's played nothing but home games. And look, last year at Chrysler against Michigan State did really well, especially down the closing stretch. 18 points in last year's game, but in the 6 home games that he has played in since his suspension has started, Michigan is 2-4 in those home games, and he was averaging 13.1 points per game. So look, obviously a good player, but it's not like we're getting like boo-booey. Let me knock on wood really quick, because now that I just said that out loud, he's going for 26 on Saturday. But you should still wholly expect to win. The computers are telling you that too. Bart Torvik says that you're going to be roughly a 5.5 point favorite. But this is just a Michigan team that is spiraling. I don't know if they care anymore. And I know that Ward Manuel has come out and said that he doesn't think it's an effort issue, which I don't know if he's watching replays from the John Beeline era or what he's watching, but I do think it is an effort issue. But however, can they get off the mat? And I swear I'm not just trolling around, but truly this is going to be their biggest game of the year. And this is a game where, hey, if you want to have good highlights of the season at the end of the year banquet, this is the time to do it. So
Cohen Carr just did one last time with that monster block. This is a continuation of a get right game. You have to do it. And the way that Juwan Howard's been behaving in press conferences, I expect him after the game to just be like, "You're welcome. You're welcome for not trying at all. You're welcome for you're welcome for being truly the worst U of M basketball team since the Tommy Amaker years. You're welcome."
It's like, do you think it's more you're welcomes in this press conference? If Michigan does lose by 15, do you think it's going to be more smiles than your welcomes at the podium here? Because that was shocking after that Illinois game, just to go up there with a smile nonetheless, say you're welcome over and over again. That's the route we're going when we lose by 30 points. Okay.
And then, to just a stream of consciousness entirely forget about all of the circumstances around Terrence Shannon in
sure,
you're not welcome, actually. Maybe there's more that goes into it than just he's a good player. I don't think so. I think their care levels right now for U of M basketball, normally when an athletic director makes comments the way that Ward Manuel does, I know he also said that he hasn't considered making a change.
Normally,
normally I think this is just something he has to say. He's got to support his guy until he doesn't support his guy anymore. But with our guy Ward,
I know.
I'm inclined to believe it, man.
He actually
I think he might not truly know how bad things are at the basketball team. He's so focused off on this dotted line, reporting to him guy from some company, on the other side of the country. He does he know that there's a game on Saturday? I'm not convinced.
Oh boy. He will be told about it at 2 p.m. on Saturday, I think. Once he's done wrapping up his brunch. But that was just so fascinating. As if the thank you comments from Juwan weren't weird enough. Yeah. Manuel Ward, quote, "It would be fair to say I have not really thought about any changes in our men's basketball program at this time." And just like you said, you nailed it. That is a select director speak. It's the middle of the season. Of course, you're not going to fire them unless you're the select director down in Columbus. But Ward, I think, actually does mean it, because all we've seen from this guy is just sitting on his hands and complete indifference to do anything ever, Kevin. So I think that we actually might not see a coaching change in Ann Arbor this offseason.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And to MSU fans, you're welcome.
You're welcome. That's right. Look at that. Folks, if you are going to be brave enough to go into Ann Arbor, go ahead and check out tickets on the Gametime app. Kevin, I'm just going to keep your beautiful face on the screen for this one. Folks, this is the greatest ticketing app out there. And let's say that, hey, no, the sporting event isn't for you. You want to go to a concert. You want to go to a comedy show or something of the sort. Hey, Gametime is going to have tickets for that. If you know that you're going to go this weekend, just start perusing the app just whenever throughout the week, because they'll always have flash deals for you. The best deals for the best seats in the ticketing game. Or if you're a procrastinator like I am, Kevin, let's say that you're going to walk to Breslin Center next week, but you don't even have the tickets on your phone or in your pocket. Go ahead and check out the last minute ticket deals on Gametime, and they're available up until an hour after the game tips off. They just love saving you money over at Gametime. So what are you waiting for out there? Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Again, download Gametime today, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDON, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. It's last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed with Gametime. Kevin,
can I just comment on your ad read?
Please. Yeah.
I know that maybe I'm not supposed to pay attention, like be too cool, like, oh, we did the ad read, let's move on. Truly though, that is a feature that I appreciate, that you can still buy tickets after the game started.
It is amazing. Yes.
I do the thing where I'm like standing right next to the building and the prices are going down. And my wife's like, can we just buy tickets so that we can go to this thing? The game's in 2 minutes. Come on. And I'm like, no, they're falling. But you're right next to the building, so your connection's spotty. It's like catching a falling knife of like, how close to the actual game time can I make this purchase?
Yes.
Before it just stops, and then you have to go to the bar to watch the game with a wife that's not happy that she's not
thrilled with you.
in the stadium. Yeah. So, Gametime, I am on board.
Best.
Fantastic.
You want to walk into the game at the under 12 timeout with a still irritated wife, but hey, still at the game. Gametime is the way to go. So beautiful.
If she doesn't know about this, I should purposefully mess one of those up with the other apps, whatever they are. Who cares? We don't know about them. And then she can get really mad at me about it. And then I can just be like, oh, Gametime. Let's go. Also, look at how cheap it is, because the game started like 10 minutes ago.
I know. And I use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off my purchase. You might be getting paid to go to the game. Let's go.
Yes.
Coming after yesterday's game, which is just a 2-game win streak, but please, like, that's going to be something we don't overly react to. I did throw out on Twitter, hey, is the last 2 games, the home win against Illinois and then this road game against a fine Penn State team, one that was rounding into form, whatever. Were those 2 games enough for you to feel better about the future of this season? I threw it out on Twitter. We almost had 1,000 votes, and it was 51%. Yes, I do feel better. 49% no. Just a dead even split. Where are you at on it, though? The last 2 games, is that enough for you to feel confident that there could be a March run coming up, maybe a top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament, if that's something that tickles your fancy? Or is there even something that you need to see against Michigan and then Iowa and then Ohio State, these next 3 games coming up?
Put me in the cold water category. I know you yourself are in the Final Four. Let's go category.
Because I'm a sucker, Kevin. That's why.
You're just an optimist.
I can't help myself.
Optimism. That's why you're the king of MSU podcasting, because people look to you for hope in a hopeless, awful place, which is where we are.
Depends on the day.
The problem that I have right now is we know where this MSU basketball team kind of slots in the conference.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing, there are certain times that you can point at. Second half of the Arizona game, you can point at the Baylor game.
Totally.
Maybe you have a good point about the medal. They proved their medal against Illinois when they were down 8 with like 3 minutes left, and they still pulled that one off.
Yeah.
But then there's the game before the Illinois game, losing to Minnesota out of nowhere based off of free throws and poor play from our seniors. So I don't have the sample size quite yet that when the going gets tough, this team will get going and it can win 3 or 4 games in a row against increasingly more difficult competition. I'd love to see it. I'd love to be wrong. Come on to Can't Read, Can't Write when we're in the Final Four and rub my face in this, please. But right now, I've watched a lot of MSU basketball
Mhm.
in my time. We got some grays in here. You can see them on
Yeah,
the
hairline ain't doing
YouTube.
too good over here, man. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm,
get it. It's gnarly out here. Yeah,
And I have seen Tom Izzo turn around some of these types of teams
absolutely.
before,
I know.
but it's required a couple lucky bounces. It's required good matchups in the tournament. And I don't think this team can make its own destiny quite yet, I guess is what I'm
Okay,
saying.
it's
But
fair. It's beyond fair.
your thoughts?
Well, also like when I do ask the question, or just even think about the question, just when I'm just staring at the ceiling at night, like, okay, well, what do you have to see in the next few games? Let's look at these next few games though, because it's a road game at Michigan, which might be a neutral court game. I don't know how many Michigan State fans are going to be buying up tickets, but hey, no matter the crowd split, it's the worst Michigan team probably in a generation. I think it's safe to say. And then
Yeah.
2 home games against an Iowa team that is not good, and then an Ohio State team that, Kevin, I don't know if you're coaching them. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's you, the listener at home, is coaching this team the rest of the season, but not the stiffest of competition the next 3 games. So, like, are there any grand takeaways we can even have the next 3 games? I know that sounds silly, but if you are one of those people that are saying, like, oh, no, I still have to see it, will they even have the opportunity to show you? Or will it just be like, okay, they win the next 3 games, but that's what you're supposed to do? Like, that you are supposed to beat these teams that you're heavily favored by. I don't know.
It's a weird thing. I don't think anyone's expecting a win against Purdue, that 4th game, that after this rock block of 3 that you're referring to.
No.
But if it's close, if Zach Edey's sweating at the end of that game and getting calls, and Purdue's like not boiling up quite with the same fervor that they usually do, which is the worst cheer in the Big Ten, and like enough to mute your television, truly. That is when I might think that this team could have a little bit of a run in them. But I think you're right. These next 3 games need to be gimmies for me to think that this team is even going to get out of the first weekend of the tournament. But if you want that second weekend, or you want the third weekend, you got to go on the road and you got to make Purdue fight for it at the very least.
I like that, because I think it's just going to be not to just violently whiplash my way from like, hey, optimism, team's looking good, to like just pure pessimism. Like I'll be shocked if they keep it within 2 touchdowns of Purdue, quite frankly. So that's maybe why I just glossed right over that. And I'm saying like, maybe it won't be until the Big Ten tournament when you really see what this team can be made of. But man, now that thought has entered my head for the first time all season, that what if they do keep it close against Purdue in West Lafayette? Like, maybe that would go even a longer way than the next 3 games could ever take us. So
people are saying,
I like that, man. We're happy, aren't we? Though, like this is new, because like look, the last time we talked, late October, not fun.
It was a different time. It was a different time. It was a different place. There were losses to Duke, James Madison. That win against Indiana State, people that knew ball said it was going to look good. Now they were flirting with getting ranked for the first time. Then they, of course, drop one. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice. The weird thing about this is Big Ten basketball schedules are unbalanced now. This is just going to be something you have to get used to. They're going to get more unbalanced as we go. And next year, when we're playing in LA on a Tuesday night in front of like 4 total people, you're probably going to lose that game and everyone's going to melt down. But it's just the way that things are in college basketball. Generally, it's the way things are in the Big Ten. I'm not making excuses for Tom. I am of the opinion that this is maybe one of his worst 3-year, groupings of his career. But like, it's nice to get these wins. It's nice to look at Illinois. Hopefully these wins against Michigan, Iowa, and Ohio State come in. And then we'll look at Purdue, and then we'll look at the postseason.
Why am I just so nervous about this Michigan game? And you know what? I actually might know why. I think there's like a bell curve here, Kevin, which like, look, there's always like the baseline level of angst going up against Michigan. But like when both teams are really good, okay, the stakes are way higher for that game. And then when the teams are mediocre, okay, it kind of like dips a little bit. But then like this Michigan team is just so bad that it actually swings back up, where it's like, oh my God, like you have to win this game Because if you lose this game, not only do you give those fans a reason to smile, which, oh my God, who wants that? Disgusting. But like, then this means that Izzo is just 500 in his career against Juwan Howard, and he has never gotten a sweep against him, even though that program over there is cratering.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't sit right with me. So maybe I just answered my own question there. Like, that's why I worry so much about this game, because what if it just happens again and we just have another ridiculous split? I can't stomach that, Kevin. I can't do that.
It's not even just in basketball terms. It would be another like demoralizing loss of like another road win that you should have in the Big Ten that you don't. So
right.
There's basketball reasons to be upset about it. And there's Twitter and fandom and all of the other stuff, reasons to be upset about it. So yeah, there's more to this one than a road game at Indiana at the end of the year, for example.
No stakes are ever higher than being able to have the upper hand in internet arguments with complete strangers that you will never meet. Like, it doesn't get much more spicy than that, Kevin.
It does not. Although I heard both of MSU football's last full-time coaches had winning records against Michigan. So,
hey, let's talk about it. Nice. There we go. Hey. That was Kevin Grech, 1/3 of Can't Read, Can't Write. Absolutely love you guys' show. You guys always bring the joy on a Tuesday, sometimes Monday when you guys drop the episodes then. But yes, go check out Can't Read, Can't Write if you guys haven't already. Many laughs, great insight as always, and just beautiful faces to look at on YouTube now. So go subscribe to those fine folks over there. Kevin, anything you want to shout out before we let you go and enjoy this weekend coming up?
Just wanted to thank you for your time here. Just wanted to say appreciate you, and go green, Matt Sheehan.
Just trying to be like you, Kevin. Go white, good sir. Love you all. God, we'll be back this Saturday night, recapping whatever on earth happens. Please win. Just please.